At the start of the tale, we are introduced to Evolunia, a kingdom nestled amidst towering mountains and peaks. However, this kingdom is plagued with numerous problems. The inhabitants of Evolunia are hardworking and uphold justice, diligently carrying out their responsibilities to maintain peace within the kingdom. The people of Evolunia believe that if they can somehow conquer the colossal mountains, they will discover something that can transform their lives and resolve all their issues. Consequently, many individuals have attempted to cross the mountains multiple times, only to meet failure and perish on the treacherous slopes. This has led everyone to believe that crossing the mountains is nearly impossible. Yet, when a courageous man emerges and successfully resolves numerous problems within the city, the people begin to view him as their potential savior who can venture to the other side of the mountains and improve their lives. They start regarding him as their hero, and he, in turn, assembles a team to fulfill the desires of the people and endeavors to cross the mountains, accompanied by his son, Searcher. However, Searcher is reluctant to embark on this journey. As they progress, they encounter a peculiar cave along their path. Upon entering, they discover that whenever someone reaches the limit and speaks, a sharp ice rock descends upon them, instilling fear in everyone. Fortunately, the person upon whom the rock falls miraculously survives, leaving everyone astounded. Blade attributes this occurrence to the noise made by the individual and instructs the team to cross the cave without uttering a sound. However, as they continue, Searcher spots an electrified plant and cannot resist touching it, resulting in a powerful bolt of lightning coursing through his body. The shock forces him to scream. The noise caused all the ice rocks in the cave to start breaking and fall. Then the people had a difficult time running out of there. Once they left the cave, they felt that their destination was close. They continued moving forward on their journey, and now they are just a short distance away from crossing the massive hills. However, Blade's son, Searcher, tells him that he doesn't want to proceed. He believes that if they bring this plant to their kingdom, it could solve all their problems. He knows that this plant possesses power, and by utilizing it, they could bring progress to their city. But Blade refuses. He advises Searcher to ask their team members what they want before making a decision. When Searcher consults his team members, he discovers that they also want him to bring the plant to the city. Because they thinks, when they reach outside of the mountains, they will die. Hearing this, Blade is deeply saddened by this. Then he hands over the map for their return journey, and he sets out to cross the hill alone. The rest of the people take the peculiar plant and return to their city. The scene cuts and shows the city after 25 years. Searcher has planted numerous of those plants in his city. He sells their fruits and earns money, while the city's residents use the electricity generated from those fruits. Thanks to this electricity, the city has made significant progress. That's why statues of Blade and his son are erected in the center of the city. However, Blade never returned. Everyone believes he has passed away. Now, the focus shifts to Searcher's family, including his son, Ethan. Ethan doesn't want to become a farmer like his father. He dreams of exploring the world like his grandfather. But Searcher strongly disapproves of this idea. One day, everyone was busy working at Searcher's house. There was a lot of noise and excitement. Suddenly, the ground started shaking and they all rushed outside. To their surprise, they saw a spaceship had landed nearby. A woman stepped out of the ship, and it turned out she had come to meet Searcher. She showed him the plants and fruits she had grown, but unfortunately, they were infected with a disease. The plants were not growing anymore and were rotting away. She asked Searcher to help find a solution to this problem. Searcher didn't want to go, but he knew that if the plants were destroyed, he wouldn't earn any money and his city wouldn't progress. Reluctantly, he agreed to go with her. On their way, they discovered that Ethan had secretly stowed away on the ship. Searcher was furious to see him. Suddenly, Searcher's wife also arrived on her strange scooter. She had followed them and joined them on their journey. The woman led them to a place where they saw the infected plants. They suspected that there might be a creature underground that was draining the energy from the plant's roots, leaving them with no energy to grow. As they were discussing this strange theory, a swarm of pink bats appeared out of nowhere and attacked them. One of the bats even killed the ship's pilot, taking control of the ship. Searcher's wife showed great courage and went inside the ship to try and regain control. They encountered a strange foam wall that burst open, revealing a whole new world. resembling an underwater world. But there was no water to be found. Instead, the surroundings were filled with countless flying birds and peculiar walking creatures. The entire world was bathed in a mesmerizing shade of pink. Searcher, who had been left behind outside the ship, had somehow lost his way. While his wife had managed to halt the ship, Searcher had ventured far from their location. Determined to find his father, Ethan faced resistance from everyone around him. They were all preoccupied with repairing their ship before anything else. Undeterred, Ethan borrowed his mother's scooter and embarked on a solo mission to locate his father. Meanwhile, Searcher stood alone, unaware of the events unfolding around him. Suddenly, a blue-colored algebraic animal snatched his scarf and darted away. In pursuit of the creature, Searcher found himself under attack by a massive, ball-like creature. This formidable beast sought to end Searcher's life. However, just in the nick of time, a courageous stranger came to his aid. Fearlessly, the stranger engaged in a fierce battle with the creature, ultimately triumphing by using a fire gun. To everyone's surprise, the stranger turned out to be none other than Blade, Searcher's long-lost father, whom we had encountered at the beginning of the story. Now, after 25 years, father and son were overjoyed to be reunited. In the next scene, Ethan was seen thoroughly enjoying himself in this extraordinary place. Exhausted from his search for his father, Ethan parked his scooter and sought a moment of respite. Little did he know, he had unknowingly stood upon a peculiar creature, which promptly dropped him to the ground. Now separated from his scooter, Ethan found himself in a desperate situation. However, fate intervened, leading him to encounter the same blue-colored animal that had stolen his father's scarf. Ethan pleaded for the creature's assistance in finding his dad. In another scene, Blade's suspicions grew as he obtained a fuel card along their journey. He began to suspect the presence of someone else in this world. When Searcher learned of Blade's suspicions, he revealed the existence of his son, Ethan. Blade was overjoyed, realizing that he had become a grandfather. With renewed determination, they set out to search for Ethan. Riding atop a magnificent creature, they embarked on their quest to find him. In another scene, we see Ethan keeping the electric fruits in his bag. However, when the blue creature hands the fruits to it, it gets struck by a strong bolt of shock. Then this blue animal gets injured on the spot, but he quickly removes the fruits from the creature and bandages it up. Ethan and the creature become good friends because of this. Ethan continues his journey with the creature. But suddenly, a huge creature appears and starts pushing Ethan towards him. Just before it can harm Ethan, Blade arrives and shoots fire from his gun, eliminating all the threats. They try to run away, but there are still many giant creatures chasing them. Surprisingly, they jump onto birds that were flying nearby, taking them to a different location. However, the danger is not over yet. The big creatures are still pursuing them. Suddenly, Searcher's wife arrives on her scooter to save them all. Ethan uses the electric fruits to give current shocks to the creatures, freeing themselves from their grasp. Finally, everyone returns to their ship, where they happily reunite with Blade. They are all filled with joy. Then, the girl tells everyone that they need to go to the creature suspected of draining energy from their tree's roots. Moving forward, Blade starts teaching his grandson how to use his fire gun. But Searcher doesn't like it. He doesn't want his son to become like his father. Anyway, the main goal of the group is to reach their destination. Along the way, they come across a place where green acid is falling from above. If they had taken their ship through it, their ship would have burned. In addition to that, the blue-colored animal communicates with the creature residing in the acid. And then those creatures extract them from the acid and transport them to another location. However, the dangers were not easily overcome. Once again, the pink-colored bats, which had been encountered previously, begin attacking. After a few moments, they realize that these bats are not attacking their ship, but rather moving forward. It becomes apparent to them that these pink creatures were draining energy from the roots of their plants and damaging them. The people decide that by eliminating these pink creatures, they can restore their plants. Consequently, they utilize their electric fruits by loading them into their guns and targeting the peculiar pink bats to prevent any harm to their plants. However, the blue-colored animal, who had befriended Ethan, prevents him from carrying out this plan. When Searcher asks his son for assistance, Ethan declines, stating that he cannot harm these innocent animals to protect the plants. This leads to a debate among the people about whether farmers or explorers of new things are more valuable. Unable to persuade his father, Ethan quietly becomes upset and departs. Searcher fears that his son will also leave him like his father did, so he arrives with his unusual scooter to persuade Ethan. They both board the scooter and traverse the massive mountains that the city dwellers had always wanted to cross. Despite their efforts, they are not pleased but astonished when they come face to face with a colossal eye. This eye signifies that the world they had known was actually the body of a gigantic animal. The green liquid they had mistaken for an acid river was, in fact, it's the stomach of this animal. All the creatures that Searcher and the others had encountered were not animals or beings, but rather parts of this massive creature. Surprisingly, the root of their plant was not truly a root at all. It turned out to be the heart of the massive animal, which was being harmed by the plant. In order to save the life of this gigantic creature, they made a decision. They would not harm any monsters or cells within its body, but instead, they would eliminate the plants. Once they discovered this truth, everyone rallied behind Searcher, who had successfully reached the heart of the enormous animal. The roots of their plant had entangled around it, hindering its proper function. Despite facing numerous challenges during the process, Searcher persisted and continued cutting the roots of the plant. Finally, all the cells of the colossal animal devoured the remaining roots on their own. As soon as the heart of the massive animal was freed from the entanglement, it began beating once again. Witnessing this miraculous event, joy filled the hearts of everyone present. The huge animal was now safe and sound. They all celebrated their success and departed from the creature on their ship. Searcher's father had also achieved his lifelong dream of crossing the mountain, only to discover that there was nothing beyond it but water. In reality, these people were living on the back of an enormous turtle, surrounded by towering mountains. Returning to their city, where Searcher, his father, and his son resided, they all lived happily, working as farmers. And so, the story concludes. Now, tell me, how did you all enjoy this movie? Let's meet again in the next film. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing to our channel.